Ladies, pack your hoe bag.
Who you calling a hoe?
Pour up a drink and start.
That's a little kinky.
Hear it.
24/7.
Yes, sir.
Live on sayitloud.com. Lock it in.
Y'all keep it locked right here.
It is another episode of Say It Loud podcast with your girl, Karen L., of course. And today in the hot seat, we have Shauna of, I just want to get it right, Shauna. It's the Sweet Treats Factory.
Yes, that's it.
Okay. So for those of you that are listening, I've been working behind the scenes with the Sweet Treats Factory for some time now. They actually send me treats. Look, I got them on my desk. I was ready for you, Shauna. And
How you feeling?
I listen. I feel like I'm like, send it, I'll test it. Especially the chocolate. I ate that chocolate. And so I wanted to bring you on the show to kind of share with everyone the work that you do and your journey as this business, but also having healthy discussion around cannabis and cannabis usage and how we can change the stigmas around it. Because I know for me, growing up, there were like stigmas around cannabis and cannabis use. And then I met you guys and it was like, well, you don't. So now I put the sugar in my tea at night because I have trouble sleeping at night.
Yeah.
I put the sugar in my tea at night. I put the sugar in my tea. I've just eaten all the chocolate. I just eat it. I didn't even need a refill.
We gotta send you some more chocolate.
Yeah, and it wasn't like extremely sweet. It was just like the perfect amount of everything, and it just like melted in my mouth. So I just kept going back. I put it in the refrigerator, and I just kept going back and eating it. But before we get into all of that, can you introduce yourself and a little bit about your company?
Okay, so I am Shawana, co-owner of the Sweet Treats Factory. My partner is Firestorm, and she couldn't be here tonight, but we're gonna shout her out. And we got started about 2020 in the midst of the pandemic. That's when everybody started their business,
right?
And we decided to get started. So I personally have been baking since 2011. So once that happened, the pandemic and everybody shut down, we were like, okay, what could we do to make this money? And since I've been messing with herbs forever, and not just cannabis, I mean, all kinds of herbs for womb health, hair, everything, skin, any kind of ailments that you may have. So why not incorporate it? Cannabis is an herb. And it is a plant. It's not a drug. And it's healthy for you. So basically, we got started and we made our first batch of oil. And it was pretty darn good. And so we just kept on. And we began to infuse the baked goods that I would make. And here we are, 2 years later. So one of our places that we actually vend is in Newark, New Jersey. It is 420 Fuse Lounge.
Oh, wow.
You guys over there. She is a Black woman. So go support her lounge. And it was beautiful. It wasn't no rinky-dink-ish. But so yeah, that's how we got started.
So you took cannabis and you took baking and you just put it together. Because I don't think a lot of people know, what Sweet Treats Factory, just for the people that are listening, Sweet Treats Factory is basically the fusion of cannabis and baking and putting cupcakes and cakes and brownies and all of these things that we enjoy to eat with cannabis.
And we do oil, we do tincture, and our biggest seller is the sugar. Because the sugar, you see how small it is. You put that in your purse, you can say, you can't smoke inside, you still all right.
Yeah. I definitely am selfish with my sugar. Because sometimes I get things and people are like, let me get one of those. I'm like, no, you gotta put that back.
I know when you told me somebody stole your sugar, I was like, okay.
Yeah, they did. And I was like, it's my fault. I should have not left it where anybody could get it. But I definitely, okay, so for me, I'm not a smoker.
I'm not a
asthmatic.
smoker either.
So
I've
yeah,
never smoked.
I can't smoke. My lungs are like, yeah, they work for the union. They're like, fuck that shit. So I have to find other ways like to participate or indulge or kind of use this. And for me, I don't just use it as I know some people just are like, oh, this is how I want to feel. For me, it's more like I'm really stressed out
Mhm.
or my anxiety is kicking in. I can't sleep at night. And I kind of more use it to comfort me in that kind of way and kind of like
Mhm.
get my body to relax versus kind of just using it for recreational use.
Mhm.
But tell me how you figure out like what goes into each item. Like, how do I know what's in a brownie? How do I know what's in a cupcake? How do I know how I'm gonna
What do you
feel?
mean the milligrams? Like, how do you
Yeah,
know the dosage?
yeah.
So when we start from scratch, we take a certain amount of cannabis with, let's say if we're making tincture with a certain amount of, we use Everclear.
Yeah.
So it's cannabis and Everclear, and it just depends on the method we process it with. Sometimes it's a little higher and sometimes it's not. But according to like the grams that we, put in, that's how we do our measurements. And they're pretty darn accurate.
Now, and do people order like whole entire cakes?
Yes.
Like wedding cakes and birthday cakes? Like how?
So the birthday cakes, yes, you'd be amazed. And I'll be like, listen, you want a cake with like $2,000, 2,000 milligrams in it, you are making you aware, you are responsible, especially if you're taking the cake into a restaurant or wherever you and your friends are going to turn up.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And, when you smoke, it's different. You get an instant high and it's gone. When you eat, cannabis, it's totally different. It will put you on your ass. So you need to be aware of what you're doing, especially if you're out in the streets. So anytime we, do something, anytime we sell a product, we do send disclosure. You are aware that
Right.
this is, your responsibility.
Yeah. And how do people always come back? Do they always come back for more? Because that's my next question. I always wonder, like, how does that make people feel afterwards? Are they like, oh, let's do it again?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Mhm.
So what made you start this business on a whole?
Well, it is a lucrative business. I must say that. Um, Cannabis sugar, for a low dosage that you have, for the low amount that you have, is pretty darn expensive. But the good thing is you can take it anywhere. So our thing was to be in on it as Black women. I think it's like 2% Black women in the cannabisville. Everything else is men,
Mhm.
men. And now that they're trying to legalize it, it's more
Right.
white men.
Yeah, obviously with the investment, because it's not.
It's
Well,
a
you
lot,
gotta know anything that's gonna be legal is gonna be like, okay, how am I gonna make money out of it? That's the
right,
first thing, the society, the man is gonna want to do, right?
right.
So I think as women, it's really important to capitalize. And
Hmm.
then as Black women to also be like, okay, this is how we can do this and change the narrative.
And for us, okay, so I shouldn't just say it's all about making money. You know, in removing the stigma from cannabis, there are so many medicinal purposes for it. I heard you say you take it to go to sleep. I have a marijuana card from the state of Pennsylvania, and I got it because sometimes at nighttime, you know, I need to go to sleep. I need to stay asleep,
Right.
and if my anxiety is high, or let's say you're suffering from PTSD or whatever, it relaxes you so much to where you stay asleep. You know, there are times I have taken like 2 tablespoons of sugar if I know I want to stay asleep until I see the sun. And when I wake up, it's like the best sleep ever.
Right, because you're refreshed, because you were in a deep sleep, you're refreshed, you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know, your body has a cannabinoid system, so it's meant to receive what you're bringing into it, you know? And that's one of the reasons why I want to remove the stigma, because there's, you know, you're taking a pill that you take it for your heart, but it's going to destroy your liver.
Right.
Why? Like, there's so many herbal remedies out there, but you want to take a pill because the doctor with his credentials told you so, instead of taking a plant from the earth.
Right. Yeah, I definitely 110%.
Choose your poison.
Yeah, because those things, they just I don't know what the word is, but they just kind of like build on each other. And so now you're dependent on them, and it's breaking down something else, and it's breaking down something else, and so you're never going to get better, because the system's just not designed for you to get better, in my opinion.
No. And
So,
one of the things that I do want to bring up, as I've been researching, is that cannabis can also, you know, kind of cure you from alcoholism and also taking drugs. You know, people, you can pretty much Google or YouTube anything, but Dr. Knox, another Black woman who, her and her daughters are both doctors, and her husband, and you know, you can research this stuff, and the data is out there, you know, to prove it's factual. Marijuana is pretty much an herbal medicine, and you should not be afraid of it. Now, I wouldn't suggest smoking, because anytime you're inhaling any type of smoke into your lungs, I just don't think that's good. But I'm not judgy.
Yeah.
Do what you like. But at the end of the day, I think that any other form is pretty healthy.
And what are some of the misconceptions around like ingesting cannabis and, you know, taking the trees? Like, what are common misconceptions people think about when you kind of...
That you're a drug addict.
Right. Well, there's that.
That you're a drug addict. And, you know, people smoke for different reasons. People ingest for different reasons. And, you know, there is evidence out there that, you know, it's more healthy than popping pills.
Right. Well, you know, it also is
the pharmaceutical business is into making money, so they're going to push
$1 billion business.
But you have the responsibility for your body, so you should be researching what you're putting into your body and the effects of it. And I'd rather boil a plant than pop a pill. Right.
Definitely. I think that's so true. And like I said, there's these misconceptions, who, you know, that if I'm taking this, I must be a drug addict, and not looking for the medicinal purposes, or even just the mainstream purposes now, because it's legal, where you can actually enjoy, and it's okay to enjoy, and it's okay to indulge, as long as you're responsible, just like if you drank alcohol, just like if you did anything else that will require you to be a responsible adult. That's just my personal opinion. So how can sweet treats be used for people who may be intimidated or scared to try it? That was my next question. What do you tell the people who may be intimidated or who may be scared to try for the first time?
So I say go low and slow. Self-dosing and self-medication. So if I have never ingested cannabis sugar, cannabis tincture. If I have never taken an edible, I'm going to go slow because, too much into your system at one time will cause you to wig out.
Right.
But you will never die. But, you might have a bad experience because you've absorbed too much at one time. So I always suggest, you cut it into quarters. Let's say you have a brownie, you cut it into quarters and you eat 1/4. 30 to 45 minutes, maybe even an hour if you're feeling like, oh, this didn't do anything. You can absorb another quarter, right? The thing you don't want to do is just gobble down a whole brownie because you don't know how it's going to affect you. Our brownies could be 200 milligrams. Are you, as a newbie, really going to absorb 200 milligrams of a brownie right away?
You sleep on the toilet somewhere.
You're not going to have a good time. So, self-dosing, learning the art of self-dosing is important.
Yeah. I think also pacing, because I tell people that with drinking too, it's like you got to give your body time to absorb. It's like, oh, you've been waiting for 15 minutes, nothing happened. I'm like, okay, it's only been 15 minutes. You got to digest whatever you ate, whatever you drink. And then kind of also think about the factors of the day. Did you eat today? Because if you didn't eat, if your stomach's full and you take 1/4 of a brownie, you got to go through all of that. But if you didn't eat all day and you take 1/4, it might hit you a lot harder. So I think also knowing your body and understanding, like, okay, I'm 100 in my perfect world, 130 pounds. I can't eat the same thing that somebody's 250 pounds is eating, and kind of be reasonable with ourselves, because sometimes we're like, no, this just gimme, not really understanding the art of kind of like, I know who I am, I know what works for me, I know when to stop, I know when to start, that kind of thing. And I think that comes with the responsibility.
And it's also important to understand that when you smoke, it immediately goes through your system and it's processing. When you, so that's inhalation. When you ingest, it's going through your system. Once your liver processes whatever you've eaten, whatever form you've eaten it in, it is sending signals to all of your body. And you'll be high for a couple of hours if you're not being responsible.
Yeah.
So that's important. That's why I say start slow and low.
That's really good advice. All right, so let's talk about some of the things that you make. I want to go in detail. Like, what are some of the things that you make? For the people that are listening, you got to place an order. Obviously, I've had one, and you have to.
That's the Sweet Treats Factory Instagram.
Yeah. I want you to tell us, like, what's on the menu at Sweet Treats Factory.
So our menu is full, and we do everything. One of our specialties is red velvet. Our red velvet is off the chain. I swear by it. Firestorm swears by it. Our carrot cake actually will give our red velvet a run for its money. And someone said it's the crack cake because you eat it and you
just want more and more and more.
Crack carrot cake, because I make it a little different. But the pineapple upside down cake.
Wow, see, I didn't know you had all of that.
German chocolate cake. Oh my God, our brownies, our cookies. We do white chocolate chip. We do regular chocolate chip. Sometimes people, are not into sweets. So that's why we offer the sugar, because you might want to be in the streets sweetening your iced tea because you're not a drinker. You don't drink, but you want to be relaxed in public. We do our oil. So we usually squeeze it over salad, like for ladies who want to be losing weight or whatever. We do tincture. The tincture's a little strong, so we also do butter. So if you want to purchase butter from us to make your own sweet treats, or if you want to purchase sugar to do your own baked goods, all those things are available. And we're small right now, but we're hoping to grow. We're working on getting our license in the state of New Jersey. We are an LLC, so we're a registered business. And our final step would be to gain a processing license. So that's what we're working on now. It's a little expensive, so y'all put them orders in. But those are some of the things, anything that can be made. So, I've made wedding cakes before, 3-tiered cakes, birthday cakes. Everybody's like, some of the ladies are into the shoes, like the high heel shoe cake.
Yeah. So you make the whole fancy cake, it's just infused with cannabis.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes.
That's crazy. When I get married again, I'm gonna get that. So my whole entire everybody that come to my wedding gonna be high.
Listen, you have to be careful with that, because that was in the news. This lady, she did that, and everybody was high, and certain people complain. Not everybody is so open-minded. So send your disclosure. If you come to this wedding, this is what you get.
Right.
Or don't come.
Right. What's your favorite thing to eat?
So I use the sugar most. I'm not a sweets person. And it's so funny because we bake, but we don't really consume sweets like that. But sugar, I'll put in my coffee. Like if I feel like I'm going to have a stressful day at work, I'll put a teaspoon in. That teaspoon, depending on how I made it, it could be 70 milligrams. It could be 120 milligrams, depending on the process. So, you have to be careful.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really good idea. I actually like the sugar.
What do you put it in?
I put it in my tea usually, because I'm not a coffee drinker like that, but I am a tea drinker. Especially like I said, because I got asthma problems, and I take the melanin tea to kind of clear up. So I kind of take that at nighttime, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna go watch this movie, and then I'll be like nice and la la la. Like I'm just very relaxed. My body's not tense. And again, because I have asthmatic and it causes my lungs to spasm. Using the sugar to like relax me actually helps me. So that's what I was saying. Like I don't use it for recreation per se. It's just like I know that my body needs to relax. I know that I have pain from these muscle spasms, and so this makes me like sleep better and be more comfortable. So I drink my tea at night. Plus, I know like responsibly, I'm not going anywhere.
So let me tell you, I heard you mention mullein. So one of the
mullein
brews,
or melanin, but that tea.
Let me tell you, so one of the brews, that's a whole nother business though. We do
tell me.
Elderberry, echinacea, mullein, sarsaparilla, and osha root. So osha root is the other herb that will cleanse out your lungs. So
I didn't know that. People tell me these things, so I got to write that down.
Osha root.
Text me and tell me, because
Osha,
I'll go to the health food store and get it.
You mix it with that mullein, and any kind of phlegm you have in your chest, it's coming out.
I need that.
Yeah.
I need these lungs back, because I don't want to take medication anymore. Everybody knows this about me. Like the doctor got me on like 3 different medicines. I gained like 30 pounds. I'm like, I don't want on these steroids no more. Mm-hmm. And so I've been looking for holistic ways to kind of get the inflammation down in my lungs without taking medication with steroids in it, because the steroids is like, they fucking me up.
Yeah, well, write that down, osha root.
Osha root. Yeah, I'm going to go get it tomorrow in the health food store. But that's what I'm saying. Unless people have these kinds of conversations and kind of know that there are alternatives to their health and well-being, they don't know. It wasn't until me talking to you saying like, okay, go. Someone told me about mullein. I didn't know what that was. But kind of trying to figure out how to be an advocate for yourself in your own health, and then using the things around you that and be like, okay, well, you know what? If I know eating a little piece of this chocolate at nighttime or in the day is kind of going to help me instead of me taking my anti-anxiety medicine, then it might be something to think about, right? It might be something. So, like I said, I want to change the stigmas around people indulging and enjoying this as well. And yes, using it for recreation and enjoying, but also understanding that there's benefits in having these conversations and trying things to make us all healthier.
So one of the things, so when you are high, sex is best. That's one of the things I wanted to say. But outside of that, you can mix different herbs. So you can mix a little bit of CBD with THC, because let's say you don't enjoy being high, the psychedelic effects which THC brings, but you want to be a little semi turned up or whatever, or relaxed. You just have to find the blend that's good for you. And you have to research the terpenes also, because that will indicate, your, like, how your body will respond, like what they're made for. If you're anxious, if you're depressed, that could be a different blend. So you have to be your own advocate for your body. Your body is your temple. You are supposed to take care of it. You're supposed to research and find out what works and what does not work. Just because someone has a degree doesn't mean they know. Like I said, you're taking medicine for your heart and it's destroying your liver, and you're still dying, right? Because you need your liver processes, your kidneys process. If you don't have those, you can still have your heart ticking, but guess what? Your body's shutting down.
Right.
So you are your own advocate, and you need to find out what works for you. You need to speak to a bud tender to find out, how they can help you. We also do menstrual teas. We put a little bit of the THC in there for the ladies, along with a few other herbs for your wound. And close the door. I'm sorry, this is my son.
That's okay.
I'm on a podcast. Here. Okay, close the door. Okay. So, some of the herbal teas that we make, like I said, for wound care, anxiety, depression, we make it all behind the scenes.
I love it.
Everything we don't push onto the website, because some things, are personal.
Right.
Sometimes people want to just talk to you and see how can
I like that though. I think discretion is really important for people as well.
Yes, because not everybody, like, they wanna be open to it, but society is not there yet. I live in Pennsylvania. It's Bucks County. So as I'm driving down, I see a sign about marijuana, and I just chuckle because that's a stigma.
Right.
I don't know anyone who'd be playing basketball high, first of all.
Right.
And before you have a game, you need to have whatever out of your system so you can function, because your team is depending on you. So for you to even push a post like that is despicable.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of misconceptions and negative connotations around it. And I think people need to, like we're doing now, have healthy discussion. I would like to also talk, like you said, about the women and their use, because I think, women, a lot of women, there are women that smoke, and there's some women that don't want to smoke, but they're like, I do want to have that feeling. I do want to have better sex and have that feeling. What would you suggest for that? Because I got a lot of questions about that. I got a lot of guys that ask me like, Karen, you don't sell gummies, and I'm like, no, I'm not a gummy distributor. I sell lingerie. I don't sell gummies.
Oh, so when you put that post up for the penis straws or whatever, it was so funny because I was like,
Well, so I do sell lingerie. I do talk about sex a lot because on the show we talk about sex a lot. So people hire me to come and do sex talks. I do have a lingerie line. So we talk about it a lot, yes. And there's a lot of people on the show that talk about it, but I don't push my ideas on anyone. We just having a good time and having grown folks conversation around. But even with that, I noticed that there's a lot of people who have questions and concern. They kind of like peek and tip their toe in, but they don't want to feel. If you know my demographic, it makes sense. It's 35 to 44-year-old women. They're grown. They make probably about $100,000 a year. They own homes. They're either in their second marriage or another relationship. They don't really want to be out here being a hoe. They're not trying to do that. They just trying to get a little bit better and feel a little good after they put the kids down. You understand what I'm saying? And so it's a whole different vibe. But I do get the question a lot. Do you offer gummies for the ladies? Do you offer like all kind of stuff? And I'm like, no, I don't do that. I don't offer that. But you might tell the ladies what they can do. I do. I get questions all the time. I'm like, in a minute, I have that. I don't have that.
Listen, it is, there's drunk sex, but there is sex when you are inebriated, and it's the best. So, one of the things that in our future we want to work on is a lube.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it is the best sex ever.
Yeah.
It's the best sex ever. When we blend it with our herbal teas, like let's say you have menstrual issues or whatever, women have cramps, we do a blend, and one of the things in that blend that assists with the cramping is cramp bark, and also cannabis. It relaxes your body, it calms you down, and you feel a little bit better. You're able to relax.
I love it. I love it. So where's the website? Where can people go to learn more about you and to learn more about what you have and how they can get in touch with you and stuff like that?
So for right now, everyone just DMs us at the Sweet Treats Factory with the gold medallion. And we're still small, our audience is not big. We do a lot of behind the scenes work, which is where a lot of our sales come from. As I said, we're in 420 Fused Lounge, and we do our vending there sometimes. And you can catch treats up there. But behind the scenes, people will reach out, they'll DM us, and they'll ask questions, and then they'll place their order. And that's where we get most of our sales from, behind the scenes. But everyone's free to DM us at the Sweet Treats Factory.
Yeah, definitely. If you're not following them, definitely go check them out. There is a gold medallion.
Support two Black women in a plant.
Yeah. If you get there and you see the gold medallion, you're in the right place. How has business been going in the pandemic and starting a business? How has that process been for you?
It's been a little bit slow.
Yeah.
Initially it was really slow because no one wanted to come outside, and right now I see with this monkeypox, no one's really gonna come outside. I don't even know.
COVID was bad, but that looked ugly. I don't want that. I didn't want COVID, but I know. I don't want that near me.
Listen, I don't know how it spread, but people like to touch you when they kiki or ha or whatever. Now you're just like, please don't touch me.
Yeah.
Don't touch me. Please
I'm going back in hibernation. Y'all ain't gonna see me till next summer.
I mean, in COVID, you're coughing or whatever, you have your mask on, you can kind of prevent it. But I mean, I don't know the bump thing on the face, and it just.
No, COVID was bad, and I was scared of COVID, and I was side-eyeing people. But now monkeypox, like I look at it, and I'm just like, I really, 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 really don't even want nothing near that. Like, you know what I mean? COVID was always like, it's scary, but you ain't really see it.
Right.
It wasn't tangible.
Coughing, but when
yeah,
you're looking at
monkeypox is very tangible. Like I see that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I feel like as much as it was difficult during COVID, I'm so proud of so many Black women like yourselves, like Faya, like tons of people who have taken the time to create something and put it together and put it out there. Because had we not paused long enough, they wouldn't have been able to do that. We were so busy in our lives, just go, that we wouldn't have had time to be like, you know what? Let's get in the kitchen. Let's get out our computers. Let's get in the car, whatever it is, and make it happen. And I think so many businesses were born at that time, and so many Black and brown people were able to kind of like divulge a little bit into themselves. So as much as like it was not a happy time because people were sick, it was pretty dope to see the things that have come out of it. And watch people like flourish and be like, yo, I always wanted to do this, and now here I am. Yeah. Like for you, it's like, oh, I was baking, but I was just baking. But we decided to do this, and here it's going. And it might be going slow because people ain't coming outside, but it's going, it's moving, and
so it's going. There are like the machines. We have like the Levo machine, and we have the Hello Hi machine, and but we both had instances in our life where we moved. So the art of really knowing what you're doing is when you have to do it from scratch without a machine. And that is when I was most proud of us. You're using just a plant, you're using Everclear, you're using thyme, you're using your stove to decarb, and you're following a process. So to me, that's when you really know what you're doing. You really know how to process. You really know how to brew what you need to do in order to get a final product. So our tincture sits for weeks on end, and that's how it gets to be so potent. That's one of the most potent forms that we create is tincture. And then from that tincture, we make sugar. Our sugar could be like a 3-day process. It could be, if we do a stove method, maybe 45 minutes or something like that. But I like to let it sit.
Yeah.
And the longer you let it sit, the more potent it is. And we use the machines for oil. We use it for butter. And we can create with that also.
That's amazing.
Because you don't have to just have sweets. You may want butter on your toast in the morning.
Right.
You may want a drizzle of oil on your salad while you're out having a good time. So it just depends on how you like it.
No, I love also that you make it so accessible. Like you're like, okay, well, you know what? How do you want to take this? Because we got to wait for that, right? We got sugar, we got oil, we got cake, we got brownies, we got cookies. It's almost like however you need to ingest this, there's a way available for you, and I think that's also pretty cool.
And one of the stigmas I want to remove about the sugar too, sugar is vegan. There's no other sugar is vegan. So it's okay to take it in small dosage.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people don't like sugar. Sugar come from sugar cane, which is a plant.
So it's okay to take it.
Yeah.
That's another stigma you can get rid of.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of over the stigmas. I feel like people need to do their research. We all got fancy phones that can kind of give you the information or not give you the information. You have to know where to go and look for it and how to absorb it. But it's there.
And you have to be open-minded. Yeah, there are people who like to ingest to be high, and that's okay too. That's your business.
Yeah.
And then there are people who really just want a good night rest.
Right.
There are people who just want to calm down because their anxiety is on 10. There are people who are depressed who, don't want to be, vibrating so low. So, like I said, it's what you like. It's your vice. You have to research and be your own advocate for your own body.
Yay! Well, thank you so much, Shawana, for joining us on Say It
You're
Loud
so welcome.
Podcast. You guys can definitely go check out the Sweet Treats Factory on their IG page. Follow them on IG. You can DM to place your orders or ask your questions.
Yeah, ask away. We're a plethora of information.
And I appreciate you so much for taking the time and sitting with us. And thank you for being here.
All right. Bye, guys. Thank you, Karen.
Shawana, don't leave yet.
Okay.